Hello, my name is Frank Elliott. I am a reporter for Sussex World Online. I'm currently walking away from the Brighton and Hove Albion first team training ground after Roberto De Zerbi has just spoken to the press ahead of Albion's next game in the Premier League against Bournemouth on Sunday. The Seagulls returned to action just 3 days after they competed in their first ever Europa League game against AAK Athens. It was a memorable night at the Amex Stadium, a sellout 32,000 fans, and one that many Seagulls supporters will not forget for a very long time. Despite this historic occasion, it was not the result that many had hoped for or even expected, as Brighton ran out 3-2 losers in the game to the Greek champions. A late goal in the last 10 minutes gave the 3 points for the Greek side. But despite the disappointing defeat, De Zerbi said after the game and stressed in today's press conference that he was happy with the performance and could take many positives from the game and look going ahead into their next game against Bournemouth in the league and also in their further Europa League ties against Marseille and Ajax. So Brighton returned to action, like I said, 3 days after that game, but would be without a number of key players, as we heard from De Zerbi today. Lewis Dunk and Evan Ferguson, two of Brighton's most important players, were unavailable for the game against Athens. Lewis Dunk apparently picked up a muscular injury after Brighton's last Premier League game, which was a memorable 3-1 win against Manchester United at Old Trafford. He has yet to recover from that injury and is unlikely to be risked for Sunday's game. Evan Ferguson, as I said, was also unavailable for the Athens game. This was due to an illness he likely picked up during the week and hadn't recovered from, despite hoping to play. He had arrived with the squad at the Amex Stadium, but had not recovered from that illness and was unavailable. De Zerbi says he is more likely to play. Whether he will start or not is yet to be seen. It depends how quickly he recovers from the actual illness, but he is more likely to feature within the matchday squad for the Bournemouth game than the Brighton skipper Dunk. Elsewhere, James Milner, who has been playing at right back for much of the time he's been at Brighton since arriving in the summer, he came off with what seemed to be a muscular problem in the Athens game early in the second half for Tariq Lamptey. De Zerbi said again today that he has to wait and see whether the veteran utility man will be available for the game against Bournemouth. And Pascal Gross, despite playing the full 90 minutes in the Thursday's defeat, also had an issue, a muscular issue, so maybe it's certainly a doubt for the game against Bournemouth on Sunday. So around 5 players in total that will be missing for Brighton potentially, alongside obviously the long-term injuries of Jacob Murder and Julio and Cisa who have got knee problems. So those 2 players plus the 3 that are doubts means that Brighton could be up 5 players for the trip. Just a short trip down the south coast to the Vitality Stadium. But despite the disappointing start to their European campaign, Brighton go into Sunday's game domestically in very good form. They won 4 of their first 5 league games, the last of those being that incredible dismantling of Eric Ten Hag's side at Old Trafford last weekend. So they will hope to continue that great run. A number of changes are expected, of course. This is their first ever game after competing in a European tie. Obviously that was their European debut on Thursday. So it's unlikely that we'll see many of the players that started that game against Athens. So a number of changes are expected to be made, both in the defensive unit and also in the attacking unit as well. For their opponents, Bournemouth have been struggling this season. They haven't won a game yet under their new boss, Andrea Areola. They stayed up last season through the miraculous work of Gary O'Neill. He left in the summer. The club spent more than £110 million on new players like Tyler Adams, Sinisterra, both from Leeds, and also Alex Scott from Bristol City. Those players are all expected to play on Sunday as the Bournemouth chased their first victory. They were impressive last time out in a 0-0 draw against Chelsea, and we'll hope to take the positives from that performance into the game against Albion to pick up the 3 points. You can catch all the coverage of the press conference today, of the game on Sunday, and also of the game last night in which Brighton played their first ever Europa League tie. You can catch all the coverage, reaction from the stands, as well as from the press box as well on Sussex World Online. Keep up to date on our social media pages as well. But that's all from me here in Falmer. Have a great weekend and enjoy the game on Sunday.